And so occasionally that gets recreated, where someone in the house, that's now just a family saying, is someone will say something and someone will turn to someone else and say, sing about that, Dad, or sing about that, Lindy. And we had a very limited number of songs, like Here We Go Around the Mulberry Bush and Camptown Ladies, like those were the melodies that we used. But you would sing whatever you were doing to that song, so it would be like, Stephen thinks it's time to go, doo-dah, doo-dah. Stephen thinks it's time to go ride our bikes home. And I mean, that was what my whole family did, was sing everything. And we have this sing about that, Mom. And I remember being sung, You Are My Sunshine and Clementine. And yet there was a whole, no one ever sang, no one ever, I don't know. Isn't that strange? There was such a division between knowing the words of something rhythmically and being able to sing. I don't know. But no, I don't. Yeah, singing was not.
Maybe if you could have put them together instead of kept.
Yeah, exactly. If there was a sense that those two things could be united, I think it would have been distinct. But also, all my friends sang, because I played the piano and they were all in chorus, and so I played the piano for a number of musicals and things like that, and figured they sing. I played the piano. Yeah. Weird, huh?
So, Barry, what's your first memory of harmonizing?
Before I can even remember it, before I could walk, I was harmonizing.
Did you ever have to think about it?
But my mother always harmonized. So I just picked it up from her, I guess.
If she was harmonizing, who sang lead?
I don't know. Someone did.
So, who were the other singers in the family?
Oh, my mother and various other cousins around. My father never sang. Until I was over 20. I finally heard him sing. My mother always sang. So it's something I didn't have to account for when I was little.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that's the way people talk.
Wow.
Was it your dad who taught you going home?
Nope. But
They gave you the last verse. Right?
yeah, he knew it all along, except the goddamn guy wouldn't let anybody else know about it. Boy, it pissed me off.
When did he sing it for you, the last verse?
About a day before he died,
Wow.
here in Eugene and Logan. Because it's these songs that kept us back. That's what you do, Teachers look at those songs and say, you obviously don't know anything about singing.
That's hard to imagine.
What was that about? Was it a class thing
Yeah.
for him?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
See, all of his brothers had to work at high school because they had to go to work and make a living.
Mm-hmm.
And none of them finished school.
Mm-hmm.
They had 5 kids and done. But I think the highest they went in high school was 8th grade or 9th grade, something like that. And then they stopped and had a job.
And when was he born?
1910. Was it 1910 or
1911.
Yeah, anyway, somewhere in there.
Mm-hmm.
My mother was born in 1910.
When did he pass away?
When did he pass away? It was here after we came, so it was after 1980 something.
Maybe about 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Something like that.
So he felt like it was a marker. These songs, these what, sea songs like
Yeah,
Rolling Home?
Partly that, and any kind of song, and especially songs with dirty words.
Yeah. That marked him as an uneducated person.
Yeah.
But your mother didn't have that feeling.
She grew up in the country. And that's where everybody learned to, that's where everybody sang something.
Mm-hmm.
Up in Enfield.
Which side of your family were the Whalers on?
Well, both my mother and my father's side. My father's mother's people were from Rockport, Massachusetts. And they were the ones, they knew what singing real songs was. But my mother's family, I get it mixed up somewhat. I can remember my grandfather singing some, but I can't remember clearly what songs he sang.
Mhm.
It was too early.
Mhm.
But there was some wheeling songs in there.
The Rockport from the songs.
Yeah. And every time I'd sing about Rockport, they'd all get tears in their eyes. But none of them would sing it.
What would they do?
They'd just shut up.
Yeah.
So I have the presence of being the last person that knows some of these songs.
Yeah.
That's when my father popped up at the last verse of this song, which I didn't know until that time.
Uh-huh.
I was nonplussed with it. I didn't know what to do with it.
Did you sing it with him?
No, I just was, and he laughed all the way through it.
So he'd been keeping this big secret from you all these years.
He saw that it came out a different way than what he had thought it was.
Uh-huh. And he sang it to you,
Yeah,
but he didn't sing a lot before that.
no, up until that. I heard him sing a couple of songs. He'd sing stuff like, he'd sing in the car.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just went by him. I learned from everybody else, not from him, not from my uncles.
Yeah.
Didn't learn anything from them.
Huh.
But they all could sing.
So what did they think of you? You know, this kid that goes off to college and learns
My
all
father
this.
had something to say about that.
Yeah.
He says, what's going to happen when you get out and you look for a job like, you're going to be you're going to be a kid who sings.
Uh-huh.
And that was said negatively.
Sure.
You couldn't get any job with just singing.
Uh-huh.
You add in Chaucer, though.
Yeah.
How did he change his view on that? Was that a gradual thing?
I don't know if he did or not. Sometimes he just seemed to come along with it. I was the only child they had, so wherever I moved, they moved. We moved out west. They were still in Massachusetts originally.
Mm-hmm.
And he decided to move out west too. That was a big surprise to me.
Yeah. Somewhere along the line, it became okay with him for you to have chosen the path you chose.
Yeah, but you had to sing it the right way. Like this song, Rolling Home, I sang it as a part of a clip that they made for a movie. I was a sea captain, and we were on a boat. We were out of Newport.
The name of this film is
Yeah.
called We Share,
Share
the
the
Sea.
Sea. Yeah.
It's put out by the Oregon State
Yep.
Oceanography? Oregon State Marine
Biology.
Biology Center. Yes, that's what it was, in Newport, Oregon.
Newport, Oregon.
Yeah.
And I don't know whether it was that song. It was another song where instead of saying we're going home to dear old Gloucester, I said we're going home to dear old Newport or something like that. I just put in the local word. My father watched the film to that place And he got up and stacked down and slammed the door. Because I had said Newport instead of Washington, instead of Rockport.
Uh-huh.
So he had the words, you know, he was going all the time,
He knew what it should be.
but he wouldn't be the one to sing it.
Uh-huh.
But no one else should sing it wrong.
Yeah.
So then finally he decides to hand off this last verse that he
Yeah.
Why?
would keep.
I don't know, it was the thing about guys who are in the sails and getting up the sails are half frozen and
Yep.
everybody was singing and what. And that was considered, he was very funny about that. That was one of the funny verses. And then he laughed, and I just laughed and laughed all the way through it.
You think he sang it then because he knew he was dying and it was rolling home?
I don't remember which it was. Maybe it was Rolling Home, yeah.
Well, it was the last verse you said of Rolling Home.
Well, it was the last verse that I picked up from it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that song itself has 50 or 60 verses.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know them
Oh,
all.
I see.
I've heard them all, but
Okay.
How did you used to end it before? How did you used to end it before he told you that last
I
time?
don't know. We just ended it. We ended it with whatever verse you liked.
Oh, okay. Makes sense.
So is it this group that gave that last verse as the traditional ending? Or ever since you learned about it, did you sing that as the last?
Yeah, ever since I learned it, and I'm the one who sings the last verse because it ought to be sung. That's the way I can get it out.
Mm-hmm.
But it makes me wonder why I didn't start that sooner. Pick that up. So my oldest uncle was a colonel in the army. And the next, his next youngest brother was Fred, he's a fireman. And
Clarence?
Clarence was a mechanic, I guess.
For Indian Motors or
Yeah.
something like that? Indian motorbikes?
And he had motorcycles.
Motorcycle.
And then my Aunt Lil was raising kids. My father was just a baby when but they could have sung together all the time. And when he was growing up, my father was growing up, they went and did mechanics. And my father had ultimate remorse, he was,
Machinist.
I know, but he thought it was, he thought that anybody had to set a micrometer for less than 10 thousandths of an inch was cheating.
Tell Michael what he said about your hands.
Well, that part of this, when I thought about singing, my hands were too thin to do any wrench work or anything. My father said, well, you might as well with hands like that.
Yeah. Were you always the sort of the smart kid, you know, the kid going intellectual, you know, from
Yeah.
this blue collar family?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I lived one house away from my father, his father's sister. We lived in one house and they lived 2 houses away. She had kids. Her kids all got into something real, you know,
Yeah.
raising cattle and so on.
Mm-hmm.
And I always said that. They always wanted to go swim or something, but I didn't.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
So-
but then your father made you play the trombone
Yeah.
3 hours every day.
Yep,
Did you pick the trombone or did he pick the trombone?
I did because I liked it. He worked in the front row, I guess, in the parade. So, and well, it leads to another family history. My grandfather Julius played trombone in a dance band for years.
Right, in New England after,
He lived in the house.
he did when he was living in Springfield?
Yeah. So that's when they picked up the guitar, the trombone, and so I played it one summer. Anyway, he lived in the same town I lived in, Springfield, Massachusetts. I never met him. That's how his family was.
Uh-huh.
And I found out since then why. And that is because he had two families, and he was still married to two women.
Oh boy. That's
And
chancy.
he wasn't even Mormon.
Brave soul. Wow.
Never could whale it away with,
Yeah.
But the rest of the family would not talk to him. Bam! That was it. He was out.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And the only thing I can remember is that when I was a kid, a car drove up in our driveway and my father went out. And I went running out as kids do. My mother grabbed me by the collar and made me stay in the house. I thought I'd go out and talk to him for a short while to the guy, and off he went. And I found out later that was Julius. It was the closest I come to knowing him.
Huh.
In the same town.
Wow. Wow.
No, that's too bad.
Makes you wonder what I would have known, what I could have done
Mm-hmm.
if we'd had all these songs together. What if all these guys sang all these songs instead of just keeping quiet? They knew them, but they just wouldn't sing them.
Didn't you say that your cousin Norma was with him quite a lot?
Yeah.
And that he would sing to her?
Yep.
We don't know exactly what songs that he was singing to her. But I guess they would be, what, in German?
Yeah, probably.
Barry, what town ended up underwater?
Enfield. And actually there are 5. Enfield, Greenfield, no. Greenfield was 1. Palmer, no, not Palmer. Anyway, there are 5 of them. Enfield was the biggest one. Enfield had 200 people in it.
Wow.
And they just had to move out. I remember I was sitting in the window, on the window seat, and I could watch the people and they're bringing their cars, their houses up the road, the horses, being drawn by horses. Had to move everybody had moved out of the valley.
Mm-hmm.
And since our house wasn't scheduled for destruction, ours just had to be disappointed. Had to be dismantled. But
Moved to another place.
yeah,
And you got a memento. You got a doorknob or something from a
A door handle
From a
door.
church, right?
Yeah.
of a church, yeah.
did I ever show you that?
You told me about it.
You know what that is?
Where Jonathan Edwards preached
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
Jonathan Edwards preached sinners in the hands of the angry God.
In this church?
Yeah,
In which town?
Enfield.
In Enfield.
Yeah, now it's interesting because since that time there's an Enfield, there is still an Enfield
Yeah.
that exists, and there's also Greenfield and Anfield and Greenfield, but in Connecticut. And so
Yeah.
Jonathan Edwards also went to those houses,
Sure.
those churches, and got to think. But our family has a history that was he preached it in the right place, because after he preached that sermon, the church with it was burned. My father got the handle because of that.
After the church burned down.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
I've got a picture of it.
But your father was 4 to 8 generations younger than Jonathan Edwards, right?
Oh yeah, Jonathan Edwards. That was back in.
So how did he come by that door or the handle?
He was on the fire department. My father was.
Oh, I see what you're saying. So it didn't. Yeah, look. Wow.
That's cool.
You had some window weights too.
Yeah,
What,
you
what
know,
did you
he's
do
got
with them? What did you do with those weights? You gave them some.
Fife. Not Fife here, but remember when we were at the first year I was teaching, there was a guy named Fife who was teaching too.
Not Austin.
No,
Up in Washington State.
no, Salt Lake City.
Oh, Salt Lake City.
Yeah, and when he died. Anyway, I got a window weight that's about this tall. It was one of the weights. It carried the weight of the window, the big window
In
of the
reverse.
church.
Yeah.
And I gave it to this guy. So he died. I don't know what's become of that now.
Hopefully you passed this story on.
Probably didn't.
So this latch, this handle, door handle. It includes that's a latch right there, isn't it? It would be underwater right now if it.
No, well, it wouldn't. There isn't anything there. The houses and everything was taken down and thrown out.
Cleared away. Uh-huh.
But it was just that church is one of the last things that.
That's what
They were going to take the church down, and somebody set fire to it.
Mm.
Do you know what that book is right there? You know that green book?
What's the title of it?
Quabbin.
Oh, where is it? On this side or that
Yeah.
side?
It'd take me a half hour to find it.
Well, it's just
It might take me that long. Whereabouts?
Down further.
In this section?
No,
This section.
The downside of a large
Down,
personal
down,
library.
Mhm.
Go down. Down, he says.
I was just curious. I didn't mean to start
it
anything.
was the statue that was out in front of the house, the church,
Uh-huh.
was saved, and that door handle, and the bell, the billet was in there.
Yeah.
It was okay. That still was used in some other church in New England.
Hmm. But that was a church where Jonathan Edwards used to stop.
Yeah. Well,
Wow.
that's what he was the vicar in Anfield.
Oh yeah.
In other words,
Uh-huh.
so that's where he said all those sermons were
Home base for him.
And
Wow.
then he traveled out and give the same sermon at other places too.
Mm-hmm. Were your family churchgoers?
No.
But something made them respect the history of the place.
Not really. The fact that that's left over is just one of those things that happens when there's a fire, you know, some things,
Yeah,
so they go to pieces, you know.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Can you find it?